Hey guys, Lord Naren White here, the Holy Ghost, the one true God, back with you with the next video in my Line of God Daily Diary series. As usual, before I discuss what I have achieved since yesterday's Daily Diary video, I want to read you a chapter from the Bible. Today I will be continuing the book of Psalms, starting with Psalm 55. To the chief musician on Neginoth Maskil, a psalm of David. Give ear to my prayer, O God, and hide not thyself from my supplication. Attend unto me and hear me. I mourn in my complaint and make a noise. Because of the voice of the enemy, because of the oppression of the wicked. For they cast iniquity upon me, and in wrath they hate me. My heart is sore pained within me, and the terrors of death are fallen upon me. Fearfulness and trembling are come upon me, and horror hath overwhelmed me. And I said, Oh, that I had wings like a dove, for then would I fly away and be at rest. Lo, then would I wander far off, and remain in the wilderness. Selah. I would hasten my escape from the windy storm and tempest. Destroy, O Lord, and divide their tongues, for I have seen violence and strife in the city. Day and night they go about it upon the walls thereof. Mischief also and sorrow are in the midst of it. Wickedness is in the midst thereof. Deceit and guile depart not from her streets. For it was not an enemy that reproached me, then I could have borne it. Neither was it he that hated me, that did magnify himself against me. Then I would have hid myself from him. But it was thou, a man mine equal, my guide and mine acquaintance. We took sweet counsel together, and walked unto the house of God in company. Let death seize upon them, and let them go down quick into hell. For wickedness is in their dwellings, and among them. As for me, I will call upon God, and the Lord shall save me. Evening and morning, and at noon will I pray, and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. He hath delivered my soul in peace from the battle that was against me. For there were many with me. God shall hear and afflict them. Even he that abideth of old, Selah. Because they have no changes, therefore they fear not God. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. But thou, O God, shalt bring them down into the pit of destruction. Bloody and deceitful men shall not live out half their days, but I will trust in thee. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. One of the themes I want to discuss in Psalm 55 is the idea of the Lord delivering the wicked to hell. And this is a theme that I think is so powerful for believers. I can only speak for myself on this. It's the idea that, um, you know, the wicked, the oppressors, the persecutors, whichever word you want to take from the Bible and apply that to, to the idea of those who do not believe, who do injustice to those who believe. That's a common theme of the Bible, right? Right. And so that's one of the themes that I look at and I say, how powerful is it that God does deliver a consequence to them? This is one of the reasons Jesus says, fear not he who can hurt the body, but he who condemneth the soul to hell. And that is reinforcing the idea of fearing God. Why? Because that's the test of faith. The idea is, now I don't want to name any specific names. For example, like unfortunately, one of the most, I won't say unfortunately, um, never mind. Don't worry about that. So the idea being that, like I mentioned, the non-believers at this time, the pagans of the Old Testament, persecuting at this time the Jews of the Old Testament. So the non-believers persecuting, oppressing, being violent towards the believers, and the believers having to endure it. It's not that they don't fight back, or it's not that they don't call upon God, and God does answer the worthy. He answers those um, who are good and deserving of His mercy. That's not what I'm saying. It's more that the focus of this verse, chapter B, that God does offer a consequence. So the violent oppressor, he says, like you think about Pharaoh oppressing, enslaving the Jews. So he's basically telling them, like, saying that, like, there's no option for you because Pharaoh can hurt their body. But Christ says, fear not he who can hurt the body, but he who can damn the soul to hell. So now, of course, you look and you say, as a believer, where is Pharaoh now? Well, Pharaoh would be in hell, right? Because he was a non-believer. And what about those Jews who endured, lashings, or you know, all kinds of maladies unto them? Well, they would be in heaven. And so that's the idea, is that God does offer a consequence. And just because one cannot see through the firmament here on earth doesn't mean that that firmament isn't impenetrable, because that's how great Jehovah is, the creator of heaven and earth. And so that's the beauty of faith, is that just because it seems like the wicked may be prospering today, don't ever believe for 1 second that they don't get their just desserts one day. And so that's where I'll go ahead and end that Bible chapter for today and continue with the next one, which is Psalm 56. To the chief musician upon Jonath Elam Rekohakim, Miktam of David, when the Philistines took him in Gath. Be merciful unto me, O God, for man would swallow me up. He fighting daily oppresseth me. Mine enemies would daily swallow me up, for they be many that fight against me, O thou most high. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. In God I will praise his word. In God I have put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do unto me. Every day they wrest my words. All their thoughts are against me for evil. They gather themselves together. They hide themselves. They mark my steps when they wait for my soul. Shall they escape by iniquity? In thine anger cast down people, O God? Thou tellest my wanderings. Put thou my tears into thy bottle. Are they not in thy book? When I cry unto thee, then shall mine enemies turn back. This I know, for God is for me. In God will I praise his word. In the Lord will I praise his word. In God have I put my trust. I will not be afraid what man can do unto me. Thy vows are upon me, O God. I will render praises unto thee, for thou hast delivered my soul from death. Wilt not thou deliver my feet from falling, that I may walk before God in the light of the living? The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Now, speaking of what I was discussing last chapter about fear not the flesh, but fear God, who can damn the soul to hell, look at what David says in this chapter. He says, in God I will praise his word. In God I have put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do unto me. Those are the words of the heaven-sent man, the great King David. And I'll go ahead and end the Bible reading there for today and transition over to what I have achieved since yesterday's Daily Dive video. Since yesterday's Daily Dive video, I worked at my chest, I worked at my legs, I have created, uploaded, and will schedule today's Daily Dive video for 7/15/23, and I've created many video game videos. And with no further achievements since yesterday's Daily Dive video, I want to go ahead and say thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, as it greatly helps the channel. Light be with you all. Take care and thanks again.